Hello and welcome everybody. Welcome to what is another video analysis of indoor rowing. This video reached me all the way from Canada. This is either Sebastien or Sebastien. He's a lightweight rower. I think very skilled. You can see he's highly routine. There's a lot of, experience in that motion. And he sent me that footage and wanted my critique. You got to keep in mind there's a significant difference between boat and the erg. You need a different technique and also a different way to move. What Sebastien does very well is he has a very good rhythm and way to use his body when it comes to not disturbing the boat. And by this I mean the following thing. You see that now at the catch, he doesn't really disturb with a lot of vertical motion. And towards the finish, there's not a lot of bending and using and pivoting the upper body going on. However, this is only good not to disturb the boat, but it's not good to accelerate the boat, and it's also not good for decent speed on the erg. Let me show you what I mean, because I think, Sebastien, you could be a lot faster if you did two things right. Number one, make sure your body is prepared for pulling, not for positioning. And I think, Sebastien, you focus way too much on positioning the body correctly, having the right angles and everything looks good, instead of preparing it for transferring force the way it should be transferred, namely for pulling. And this is not pulling. It looks good, it looks clean, it looks smooth, but it's not effective, in my humble opinion. What I mean is the following thing. This position looks good. However, if you follow my cursor, you see this? There's a nice stretch and the lat to triceps connection. That's all good. You can't argue with that. However, the problem starts now. You see this? And this tells me that, hey, you are not prepared for pulling. You actually didn't plan on pulling. You planned on doing it the right way, looking good, but I think you have to refrain from looking good and move to how much force can I apply. Don't go by the way it looks. I think if you want to pull on something, you would never do this. Can you see this in camera? It's a dark shirt, but you're contracting here instead of being ready to pull. If I pull, there's not much position change going on. Now, I don't care about the symptom that it looks good, so okay, there's not much motion going on, so it's got to be for pulling. No. Try out one thing. When you move to the catch, right now, make sure that your forces can float naturally. And these would float in a way that would look like this. Oh, you don't want that? Okay. So this is one way the forces are floating. Alright, that's good. However, if you see this muscle group right there is not prepared for pulling. Otherwise, you wouldn't contract. If you pull on something, you would be more in a loose connection and try to have the best hook grip possible. But if you contract this way, you add another angle. And adding another angle is never super effective, especially not if you're doing thousands and thousands and thousands of strokes on these ergs. Now, the force continues. It should continue straight from the shoulder point to the hip point. However, with that contraction, the way the force is traveling is actually this way. In is the same, then it goes a bit up, then it goes back into the back because you just changed the position. And then the force, and that's something you can't see unless you work endlessly with force curves on bio rowers. The force doesn't move down all the way, but it goes into the lat. And why is it going into the lat? Because it's contracted. You can actively contract the muscle, but this will change the way forces are floating. And by forces, I basically mean force vectors. All the lines I'm drawing right now are force vector. Vector is nothing but a direction of force is traveling. So the green lines are the way they should be traveling, pretty much direct. At this stage, there is still, you see this, a nice relaxed position in the lat to triceps connection. And now there's that closing, and that closing leads to a completely different force vector. And the force vector it leads to is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and parallel 7. And there's not really a connection there. And all of these lines that I'm drawing right now, they cause a lot of exhaustion, and at the same time they lead to the point where you cannot really use all the energy you spend to move that air fan you have in this ergometer. The hip itself is actually well positioned. There's nothing to argue with that. Your main problem is right there. Now, how should you solve this? And I think you should solve it this way. When you move forward, make sure your shoulder sits a little lower. I think the height difference between your shoulders and your hands, I think that's a bit too much. Especially, I think the shoulder should be, center point shoulder should be around here. And that just means not going forward this way, but chest out, relaxed arms and shoulders, moving forward, and then it's very easy to have that triceps lat connection. Can this be fast, Sebastien? Yes, absolutely, it can be fast. But the question is, how fast are you in relation to what you could do? Let's look a bit further. The second problem I want to address is this one. There is almost no explosive use of the trunk. I'm not a big fan of ripping the trunk to get extra speed on the erg. I know that's not what we want. However, the lever you have, and also the patience, because this position here is excellent. I mean, this is awesome. This is very, very good. But the lever you have, even at this point, I was expecting, like, now, whoa, there's a massive explosion of energy being transferred right onto the foot stretchers. But it isn't happening. This is a slow and gradual opening, and even an interrupted opening. I think you can lean back farther, a lot farther. You're a lightweight. And the second thing is that you can use your trunk more explosively and not interrupt that whoop motion with an arm bend that's too early, because now the upper body's working and you pull in this way instead of to the side. Now I don't see you face to face now, but I suspect if I saw you from up front, it would look a bit like this. What I would be looking for is this. Use a massive wide chest, connection on the chest bone, and just move that air fan with your body weight. So when you row on that erg, I suggest you don't feel like a lightweight. You should feel like a heavy weight, using that massive upper body. Because in the end, this is what's going to propel you also in the boat. And smooth rowing alone will not get the job done. So let me show you once more what I mean. This right there. Because an arm pull only on the erg, the last few inches, actually that's almost a full foot, will not get you anywhere. Not on a device like an erg, where weight is your biggest factor. You as a lightweight, you are light anyway. You should use your body weight much more. Let's look at this once more. Shoulder cramping, all right. And I think you can keep the position because you don't let all the forces travel through the body. It's just not happening. And now you're too careful. Sebastien, there's way more boat speed in you. I hope this helps you guys. I want to leave it right there. I think, Sebastien, overall, you row in an excellent way, and many people would be happy to row the way you row. However, I'm interested in making you faster. And if you can become faster somewhere, this is it. All right, guys, I hope this helps you. And Sebastien, I hope this helps you. I wish you all the best. Keep me updated. Keep me in the loop how you're doing. Maybe send me another video in a couple months down the line. If you want to send me your C2, your row perfect, your whatever, or footage, go ahead and send it to me. Go to rmtraining.com. There's a separate section. It's called video analysis. You'll find all the details how to send it to me right there. If you have not subscribed, please do so. If you have not shared, please share it. And for the rest, have a very good day. I'm looking forward to see you all soon. Bye-bye.